Millionaire CEO finds ex at his dad's funeral with twin boys who have his blue eyes. They're mine. Graham's voice cuts through 7 years of silence, and Sloane doesn't even blink. Yes, she says simply, standing across from him on a rain-soaked street, holding an envelope that's about to destroy everything he thought he knew. How is that possible? His hands are shaking. You and Finn, you were together. I saw you in his arms. There was no me and Finn. Her voice is steel. There never was. What you saw was him comforting me after I told him I was pregnant. After I called you 17 times, and you sent every single one to voicemail. The envelope in her hand trembles slightly. Your father gave me this before he died. You need to read it. Because everything you believed about that night, about me, about why I disappeared, it was all a lie. And the two boys with his blue eyes, the 6-year-old sons he never knew existed, they're waiting at home, wondering if their father will finally choose them. But to understand how we got here, to this moment where a millionaire CEO is staring at the woman he thought betrayed him while she holds the truth he's been running from for 7 years, we need to go back. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out when new stories drop. Now let's go back. Back to 3 days of rain that wouldn't stop. Back to a funeral that changed everything. The rain hasn't stopped for 3 days. Graham Barrett stands under the black tent at Oakwood Cemetery, watching them lower his father into the ground, and all he can think about is how much the old man would have hated this weather. His father loved sunshine, loved clear skies and visible horizons. Used to say that a man should always be able to see what's coming. But Graham didn't see her coming. The tent is packed with mourners. Black umbrellas, black suits, black dresses. The entire development industry showed up to pay respects to Richard Barrett, the man who'd built half of Manhattan's skyline. Business associates offering condolences that sound like networking pitches. Investors shaking Graham's hand with grips that linger too long. Everyone wanting something, even at a funeral. Graham stands at the front, next to the casket. His brother Finn is beside him. Not close. They haven't stood close in 7 years. The priest is saying something about eternal rest and God's grace. Words that mean nothing. His father didn't believe in God. Believed in concrete and steel and the almighty dollar. Believed in control. Graham's assistant, Brooke, touches his elbow gently. Sir, are you all right? You look pale. He nods without speaking. The tent smells like wet earth and expensive cologne. Rain drums against the fabric above them, a steady rhythm that matches his heartbeat. And that's when he sees her. She's standing at the back of the gathering, far enough away to seem respectful, close enough that he can't possibly miss her. She's wearing black like everyone else, but on her it looks different, intentional, like she planned this exact moment, like she knew exactly what seeing her again would do to him. Sloane. The name hits him like a fist to the chest. He actually gasps, and Brooke leans in again with concern. He waves her away, his eyes locked on the woman who destroyed him 7 years ago. She hasn't changed. Same dark hair, though it's longer now, falling past her shoulders in waves he used to run his fingers through. Same sharp cheekbones that could cut glass. Same full mouth that he used to know better than his own. But there's something different in her eyes. Something harder, more guarded, like she's built walls where windows used to be. And then he sees them. 2 boys, maybe 6 years old, standing on either side of her like sentries. Both wearing suits that are slightly too big for their small frames, sleeves covering their hands. Both with identical serious expressions, watching the funeral with a solemnity that seems wrong on faces so young. Both with blue eyes. His blue eyes. The world tilts. Graham's hand shoots out, grabs the edge of a folding chair to steady himself. His vision tunnels. All he could see are those 2 boys. The way they stand. The shape of their faces. The stubborn set of their jaws. His jaw. The cowlick at their hairlines that makes their dark hair stick up slightly on the left side. The same cowlick he's been fighting his entire life. The same one his father had. The same one that shows up in every Barrett family photo going back generations. Sir? Brooke is gripping his arm now, genuinely worried. Do you need to sit down? He can't answer. Can't speak. Can't do anything but stare at those 2 boys who have his face in miniature. His eyes, his features, his DNA written across them like a signature he never signed. The priest finishes. People begin to move, forming a line to offer condolences. Hands shake his. Voices murmur sympathies he doesn't hear. Someone hugs him. Someone else grips his shoulder. All of it happens at a distance, like he's underwater. He's scanning the crowd, looking for her, for them. But they vanished. Like ghosts. Like they were never there at all. Graham, his brother's voice cuts through the fog. We need to head to the reading of the will. Finn, his younger brother, 29 to Graham's 32. Always the favorite. Always the one their father actually loved. The golden child who could do no wrong. The one who betrayed him with the only woman Graham ever loved. Did you see her? The words come out sharper than he intends. Almost aggressive. Finn's expression doesn't change. See who? Sloane. Graham's hands are fists at his sides, knuckles white. She was here, with 2 boys. Something flickers across Finn's face. Something that might be guilt, might be pity, might be knowledge he's been carrying. I didn't see her, Finn says carefully, his voice too measured. The funeral was crowded. Maybe you were mistaken. I wasn't mistaken. Graham takes a step closer to his brother. Those boys had my eyes, Finn. My exact eyes. Finn looks away, and that tells Graham everything. You knew. It's not a question. You knew about them. Graham. Finn's voice drops low. It's been 7 years. Maybe it's time to move on from whatever you think you saw back then. Don't. Graham cuts him off, his voice rising. Other mourners are starting to notice, starting to turn. Don't tell me it's time to move on. Don't tell me it's time to forgive. You have no idea what you took from me. I didn't take anything from you. Finn's voice hardens now, matching Graham's intensity. She made her choice. And maybe if you had actually listened to her instead of jumping to conclusions, instead of believing the worst, things would be different. Instead of what? Graham's voice is loud enough now that people are definitely staring. Instead of believing what I saw with my own eyes, you had your arms around her, Finn, in your apartment. She was crying into your shoulder like you were her whole world. I was comforting her. Finn's jaw tightens. That's what decent human beings do when someone they care about is in pain. But you couldn't see that. All you could see was betrayal because that's what you wanted to see. They're standing in the rain now. The tent is being dismantled behind them. The crowd is dispersing, getting into expensive cars, and driving away from this graveyard, from this day, from the complicated mess that was Richard Barrett's life. But Graham can't leave, can't move, can't stop seeing those 2 boys with his eyes. We need to go, Finn says again, his voice tired now. The lawyers are waiting. Dad's will isn't going to read itself. Graham goes, because that's what he does. He shows up. He performs. He handles things. It's what made him a millionaire by 30. What built his development company from single property renovation into an empire that's reshaped half the city's skyline. Barrett Development. 23 properties. 400 million in assets. It's also what keeps him alone at 32. Successful. Powerful. Absolutely alone. The drive to the lawyer's office is silent. Fin d'archives. Graham stares out the window, watching the city blur past. The rain has finally stopped, leaving everything washed clean and gleaming. Buildings reflect in puddles. The sky is that particular shade of gray that promises more rain coming. His phone buzzes in his pocket. Work emails. His CFO needing approval on the Harbor Point acquisition. His project manager with questions about the Columbus Avenue development. The world continues, turning even when yours stops. He ignores all of it. The lawyer's office is in Midtown. Hutchins and Associates. 15th floor of a building that screams old money. All dark wood paneling and leather-bound books. The kind of place that smells like money and old secrets and deals made in whispers. Graham has been here before. For his mother's will reading 12 years ago. Same office. Same leather chairs. Different grief. Hutchins is waiting in the conference room. He's been the family's attorney for 40 years. Watched Graham and Finn grow up. Handled every legal matter the Barretts ever had. He's 70 now, with white hair and sharp eyes that miss nothing. Gentlemen, he says as they enter. Please sit. Finn takes the chair on the left. Graham takes the one on the right. As far apart as possible while still sitting at the same table. The distance between them is more than physical. I'm very sorry for your loss. Hutchins begins the standard opening. Your father was a remarkable man. He was a bastard, Graham says flatly. Hutchins doesn't even blink. He's heard worse. I see grief manifest differently in everyone. He pulls out a thick folder, sets it on the table between them. Your father's will is straightforward in most respects. The estate is to be divided equally between you, with specific provisions for certain properties and assets. However, there is one significant condition. Here it comes. Graham leans back in his chair. My father never did anything straightforward in his life. What's the catch? Hutchins removes his glasses, cleans them with a cloth from his pocket. It's a delaying tactic. Graham has seen it 1,000 times in negotiations. The pause before the bad news. Your father has made the inheritance conditional, Hutchins finally says, placing his glasses back on reconciliation between the two of you. What does that mean? Finn asks. It means you have 6 months to resolve your differences, to work together on a project of his choosing. If you succeed, you inherit everything. The properties, the assets, the liquid capital. If you fail, everything goes to charity. Silence fills the room. Then Graham laughs. Actually laughs, but there's no humor in it. Only bitterness. That's insane. We can contest this. Undue influence, diminished capacity, there are a dozen legal grounds. You could try. Hutchins slides the document across the table. But your father was very thorough, very specific. He had 3 independent psychiatric evaluations done in the last year of his life, all confirming his complete mental competence. He knew you'd fight this, Graham. He prepared for it. Of course he did. Graham doesn't touch the document. What else? The project he's chosen is the Riverside development, the final piece of your father's portfolio. 50 acres on the waterfront. He bought it 20 years ago with the intention of building something significant, something that mattered. He never did. He wants you to do it together. Graham knows the property. Prime real estate. East River waterfront. Zoned for mixed use. Worth tens of millions undeveloped. Potentially worth hundreds of millions if developed correctly. You want us to develop it together, he says. Your father wanted you to develop it together, Hutchins corrects. And there's one more condition. Of course there is. Finn's voice is tight. The development must include affordable housing. At least 30% of the units must be priced for families earning below the area median income. Your father was very specific about this. He wanted his legacy to be something that helped people, not just something that made money. Finn actually laughs at this. Short and sharp. Dad wanted to help people? The man who bought up half the Lower East Side and displaced thousands of families when he converted those buildings to luxury condos? That man wanted to help people? People change, Hutchins says quietly, especially when they're dying. Your father spent his last year trying to make amends. This was his way. Too little too late, Graham says. He stands. I need to think about this. You have 48 hours to decide, Hutchins says. After that, if you decline, everything goes to charity immediately. The properties, the accounts, all of it. The charities are already selected. Women's shelters, homeless services, affordable housing nonprofits. Your father will have helped people one way or another. The choice is whether you help him do it. Outside, the city is moving. Rush hour traffic. People hurrying home from work. The normal rhythm of life continuing while Graham stops. He stands on the steps of the law office, loosens his tie, and tries to figure out how his life became something he doesn't recognize. Finn stands beside him. Not close, but there. Are you going to do it? Finn asks. I don't know. It's a lot of money to walk away from. I have money. Not like this. This is generational wealth. This is never work again money. Graham turns to look at his brother. Really look at him for the first time in years. Finn looks tired. Older than 29. There are lines around his eyes that weren't there before. Did you know about the boys? Graham asks. Finn hesitates, then nods. I knew. How long? Since the beginning. She told me the night you walked out. She was trying to figure out how to tell you. I was helping her. That's what you saw. The words hang between them. You should have tried harder, Graham says. To make me listen. I did try. You threw me out of your apartment. Literally threw me. I had bruises for a week. Graham remembers. Remembers his hands on Finn's shirt, shoving him against the wall, then out the door. Remembers the rage, the betrayal, the absolute certainty that he was right. I was wrong, he says quietly. About you. Finn's eyes widen slightly. That might be the first time Graham has admitted being wrong about anything in 7 years. Before Finn can respond, Graham's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. S. His heart stops. Then starts again, harder, faster. He types back with hands that shake. How did you get this number? The response comes immediately. Same way I know you saw them today. Same way I know you're standing outside Hutchins' office right now, wondering if you're losing your mind. Look up. Graham's head snaps up. Across the street, standing under the awning of a coffee shop. Sloane. Alone this time. No boys. Just her. And she's looking right at him. His feet move before his brain catches up. Across the street. Through traffic. A taxi honks. Someone yells. He doesn't care. Doesn't hear anything except the blood rushing in his ears. She doesn't move. Doesn't run. Just watches him come with those eyes that used to look at him like he hung the moon. Now, they look at him like a stranger. Like someone she used to know in another life. When he reaches her, they stand there. 3 feet of sidewalk between them that feels like an ocean. 7 years of silence. 7 years of anger and hurt and unanswered questions. Hi, Graham, she says softly. Her voice. God, her voice. He'd forgotten how it sounds. How it used to say his name like a prayer. 7 years of anger. 7 years of convincing himself he's better off without her. 7 years of building walls and telling himself she betrayed him. It all crystallizes into 2 words. They're mine. It's not a question. He knows. Knew the moment he saw those blue eyes. Yes, she says simply. The world tilts again. He has to lock his knees to stay standing. How? His voice breaks. He tries again. How is that possible? You and Finn, you were together. There was no me and Finn. Her voice is firm now. Steel underneath the softness. There never was. What you saw, what you think you saw, it wasn't what it looked like. I saw you in his arms. You saw him comforting me. After I told him I was pregnant. After I told him I needed help finding you because you'd stopped answering my calls. The words hit like bullets. Each one finding a mark. Each one destroying another piece of the story he's been telling himself for 7 years. That's not, he stops. Thinks back. Tries to remember. You never told me you were pregnant. I tried. Her voice rises slightly. Called you 17 times that week. You sent every single one to voicemail. So I went to Finn. Asked him to talk to you. To tell you I needed to see you. And yes, I broke down. Yes, I cried in his arms. Because I was 23 and terrified and the man I loved was shutting me out and I didn't know why. Graham feels something crack in his chest. A fissure in the wall he's built around this memory. Around this moment that defined the last 7 years of his life. And then you showed up, Sloane continues. Her eyes are bright now. Not crying, but close. Walked in while Finn was hugging me. Jumped to conclusions. Started screaming. Wouldn't listen to anything either of us said. Just kept yelling about betrayal and lies and how you should have known better. You were in his arms, Graham repeats. But sounds weaker now. Less certain. He was comforting me. That's what decent humans do. But you didn't see that. You saw betrayal because that's what you wanted to see. Why would I want that? Because your father spent your entire life telling you that people would use you for your money. That no one could be trusted. That love was a weakness. Her voice is fierce now. And when you saw me with Finn, it confirmed everything he'd poisoned you with. It was easier to believe I betrayed you than to believe you were wrong about everything. He wants to argue, wants to defend himself, wants to say she's wrong, but the words won't come, because she's right. His father had been whispering poison for months before that night, asking questions about Sloane's background, about her family, making comments about gold diggers and social climbers, suggesting that a girl from her background might see Graham as a meal ticket. And Graham had defended her, had told his father he was wrong, had insisted that Sloane loved him for him, not his money. But the seeds were planted. The doubt was there, buried deep but there. And when he saw her in Finn's arms, all those seeds bloomed at once. Why didn't you tell me after? His voice is barely audible. Why didn't you make me listen? I tried. Her laugh is bitter. For weeks. Showed up at your office, your apartment, your construction sites. You had security throw me out every time. He remembers telling them to keep her away. Remembers the satisfaction of shutting her out the way he thought she'd betrayed him. I wrote you letters, she continues. Sent emails. Tried calling from different numbers. You blocked all of them. So I even tried to go through your father. My father? The crack in his chest becomes a chasm. He told me you never wanted to see me again. That you'd moved on. That I should do the same. Her voice is shaking now. And then he offered me money. What? $200,000. To disappear. to never contact you again, to never tell you about the babies. Babies, plural, because there are two of them. Two boys who have his eyes and his entire life that he missed. I didn't take it, Sloane says quickly. Told him to go to hell. And then I moved. Changed my number. Build a life for my sons that didn't include your money or your family or any of the toxicity that came with loving you. Sloane. Her name comes out broken. Their names are Mason and Carter. She's not crying now, but her voice is thick with emotion. They're 6 years old. They love dinosaurs and building things and asking impossible questions. They're smart and kind and perfect, and they don't know you exist. Each word is a knife. Precise. Devastating. Cutting away everything he thought he knew. I want to meet them, Graham says. Why? Because they're my sons. Biology doesn't make you a father. Her eyes are hard now. Protective. You walked away. You chose to believe the worst of me. You threw me out of your life like I was nothing. I was wrong. Yes, you were. Let me fix it. You can't fix 7 years, Graham. Her voice cracks. You can't fix missed birthdays and first steps and first words. You can't fix not being there when Mason had pneumonia at 18 months and I thought I was going to lose him. You can't fix not being there when Carter broke his arm falling off a slide and cried for a daddy he'd never met. You can't fix being absent for every single moment that mattered. Then let me be there for the moments that are coming. She studies him, like she's looking for something, some sign that he's worth the risk, that he won't destroy her sons the way he destroyed her. Why were you at the funeral? He asks. If you hate me so much, why come? I didn't come for you. Her voice is quieter now. I came because your father contacted me 3 months ago. What? He found us. I don't know how, but he showed up at my door one day. Wanted to meet his grandsons. She crosses her arms. I almost slammed the door in his face. But he looked so broken, so desperate, and he said he was dying. Graham's world is rewriting itself. Every assumption crumbling, every certainty dissolving. He visited us every week after that, Sloane continues. Brought the boys gifts. Not expensive things. Just books and building blocks and puzzles. Told them stories about construction and architecture. About building things that last. She pauses. About his sons. About you and Finn. About how his biggest regret was pushing away everyone who mattered. About how he destroyed his family because he was too proud and too scared to admit he was wrong. He never told me. Graham's voice is hollow. No, he wanted to. Wanted to fix things between you and me. Between you and Finn. But he ran out of time. She reaches in her bag. Pulls out an envelope. Hands it to him. He gave me this 2 weeks before he died. Said to give it to you after the funeral. Said you need to read it. Said it was the only way you'd believe him. Graham takes it. His name is written on the front in his father's handwriting. Shaking. Weak. The handwriting of a dying man. His hands tremble as he opens it. Inside is a letter. Short. To the point. His father never was one for unnecessary words. Graham, by the time you read this, you'll have met my grandsons. Your sons. And you'll be angry that I kept this from you. Good. Be angry. I deserve it. I lied to Sloane. Told her you wanted nothing to do with her or the babies. I paid people to keep her away from you. I had your assistant screen her calls, your security turn her away. I did everything I could to make sure she disappeared from your life. Why? Because I was a coward. Because I was terrified that she would take you away from me, away from the company, away from the life I'd planned for you. I told myself I was protecting you from a gold digger, but I was really protecting myself from losing control of you. I spent 7 years watching you become exactly what I made you. Successful, cold, alone, a perfect replica of me. And I realized too late that I destroyed the best thing that ever happened to you. Sloane is remarkable. The boys are extraordinary. I got to know them in my final months. Mason has your analytical mind. Carter has your creative vision. Both have your stubborn determination. They're everything you would have been if I hadn't broken you. If you're reading this, you have a choice to make. You can stay angry. Stay alone. Stay convinced that the world is out to use you. Or you can do what I never could. Admit you were wrong. Fight for what matters. Build something that lasts. The Riverside development was always meant to be yours and Finn's. A place where you could build something together. Something that helps people instead of just making money. I'm making the inheritance conditional because I know you, son. You'll only fight for things that challenge you. And fixing your relationship with your brother, with Sloane, with your sons, That's the biggest challenge of your life. Don't waste it the way I did. Don't become me. Dad. Graham reads it twice. 3 times. The words blur as his eyes burn. As everything he believed, everything he's built his life on, crumbles to dust. When he looks up, Sloane is watching him. Waiting. He was dying, she says quietly. And he spent his last months trying to fix what he broke. I'm here because I promised him I'd give you a chance. One chance to know your sons. To be part of their lives. And if I screw it up, then you never see them again. Her voice is absolute. I've protected them this long from your family's toxicity. I'll keep protecting them. They're happy. They're healthy. They don't need a father who's going to destroy them the way yours destroyed you. He nods. Understands. What do I have to do? Show up. Consistently. Not as Graham Barrett, CEO. Not as the millionaire with the company and the penthouse. As their father. If you can do that, if you can put them first, then maybe we can figure this out. When can I meet them? Saturday. There's a park near my apartment in Brooklyn. 10 in the morning. You show up on time. You stay as long as they want you there, and you let them set the pace. Understood? Understood. She turns to leave, then stops, looks back. For what it's worth, she says, your father loved you. He was terrible at showing it. Terrible at most things that mattered. But he loved you. And at the end, he was trying. Did you forgive him? Graham asks. I'm working on it. She starts walking, calls over her shoulder. Same way I'm trying to figure out if I can forgive you. Then she's gone, disappearing into the evening crowd, leaving Graham standing there with his father's letter and a chance he never expected to get. He looks down at the letter again. His father's words. His father's confession. His father's final attempt at redemption. His phone is still in his hand. He pulls up Finn's number. Hesitates. Then calls. Finn answers on the first ring. Graham? I'm in, Graham says. In? The development. The inheritance. All of it. I'm in. There's a long pause. Then why? Because Dad was right. Graham's voice cracks. About a lot of things. And I'm done being angry. Done being alone. Done being the man he made me. Another pause. You saw her, didn't you? Sloane. Yeah. And the boys? They're mine, Finn. I have sons. 2 of them. And I missed 6 years of their lives because I was too proud and too stupid to listen. Because I let Dad poison me against the only person who ever really loved me. He hears his brother's sharp intake of breath. Graham. Finn's voice is thick. I'm sorry. For not trying harder. For not making you listen. I wouldn't have listened. Graham knows this is true. I wasn't ready to hear it. Wasn't ready to admit I might be wrong. About anything. What changed? Everything. Dad's letter. The boys. Realizing that I've wasted 7 years hating someone who never betrayed me. Realizing that I became exactly what he wanted me to be. Successful and miserable. So what now? Now I try to fix it. Try to be the father they deserve. The brother you deserve. The man Sloane deserved 7 years ago. That's a lot of trying. Yeah. Graham's voice breaks completely now. It is. I'll help, Finn says quietly. With the development. With all of it. Fresh start? Fresh start. Graham hangs up, looks at his father's letter one more time, folds it carefully, puts it in his pocket over his heart. Then he does something he hasn't done in 7 years. He cries, standing on a Manhattan street corner as the sun sets and the city lights come on. As people rush past on their way to dinner, to dates, to lives that make sense. He cries for the years he lost, for the sons he doesn't know, for the woman he destroyed, for the man he became. And somewhere in Brooklyn, 2 6-year-old boys are getting ready for bed, not knowing that in 3 days, they'll meet their father for the first time, not knowing that their entire world is about to change. The story of how Graham and Sloane met starts 7 years earlier, before the betrayal that wasn't, before the sons he didn't know about, before everything fell apart. It starts with a conference. Graham is 25. His father's development company is thriving. But Graham wants to build something of his own. He started Barrett Development with money from his trust fund. His first project is a small apartment building in Brooklyn. Nothing fancy, just proving he can do it. The Urban Development Conference is at the Javits Center. 3 days of panels and networking and people trying to make deals. Graham is there because his father insisted. Make connections, his father said. Learn who matters. He's bored out of his mind by day 2. The panels are all the same. People talking about maximizing profit, minimizing cost, getting the most money from every square foot. No one talks about actually helping people, about building communities instead of just buildings. Then he sees her. She's presenting on a panel about affordable housing. 23, maybe, dark hair pulled back, wearing a simple black dress that probably cost less than his shoes. But when she speaks, the room goes quiet. We've lost sight of what cities are for, she says. Her voice is clear, passionate. They're not for profit. They're for people. And when we price people out of their own neighborhoods, when we build luxury condos where family housing used to be, we're not developing. We're destroying. Someone in the audience challenges her. But developers need to make money. We can't build at a loss. I'm not suggesting you build at a loss. Her eyes flash. I'm suggesting that profit doesn't have to come at the expense of people. That you can build beautiful, well-designed housing that's actually affordable, that serves the community instead of displacing it. Graham finds himself leaning forward. She continues. There are developers in other cities doing exactly this. Mixed-income housing, community land trusts, innovative financing. It's possible. We just have to care enough to do it. After the panel, he approaches her. She's gathering her notes, declining offers from other developers who clearly want to argue with her. That was impressive, he says. She looks up, studies him, takes in the expensive suit, the confident stance, the bearing of someone who's never had to worry about money. Let me guess, she says. You're going to tell me I'm naive. But the real world doesn't work that way. That eventually I'll understand how business really works. Actually, I was going to ask if you wanted to get coffee. Graham smiles and talk about how we might make the real world work differently. She raises an eyebrow. You're serious? Completely. I'm Graham Barrett. I just started my own development company, and I think you might be right about a lot of things. She considers this, then extends her hand. Sloan Murphy. And coffee sounds good, but I'm buying my own. I don't take money from developers. Not even for coffee. Fair enough. They go to a coffee shop 2 blocks from the Javits Center. Order at the counter. She gets black coffee and a muffin. He gets a latte. So, Graham Barrett, she says when they sit down. Why does a developer want to talk to someone who just spent 20 minutes criticizing everything developers do? Because you're right. He says it simply. We've lost the plot. We build for profit, not for people. And I want to do it differently. Why? Because I've seen what my father's company does. Buys buildings, displaces families, builds luxury units that sit empty because no one who actually lives in the neighborhood can afford them. And I'm tired of it. So, do something different. I'm trying. My first project is a small building in Brooklyn. I'm keeping 30% of the units affordable. It's not much, but it's a start. Her eyes widen slightly. 30%? Yeah. Why? Because most developers won't do 5%. 30% is significant. They talk for an hour, then 2, then 3. The coffee shop is closing, and they're still talking about cities and communities and what development could be. Should be. We should do this again, Graham says when they finally leave. Do what? Talk about housing policy? She's smiling now, really smiling, and it transforms her face. That. And maybe dinner next time. If you'd let me buy you dinner. I said I didn't take money from developers. Make an exception. Just this once. She considers, then nods. Okay, just this once. Dinner becomes a regular thing. Once a week, then twice, then whenever they can find time. Graham learns that Sloan grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Queens. That her mother cleaned houses, her father drove a truck. That she put herself through school on scholarships and student loans and 3 part-time jobs. She's brilliant. Has a master's in urban planning. Works for a nonprofit that advocates for affordable housing. Makes barely enough to cover her rent on a tiny studio in Brooklyn. And she sees the city completely differently than Graham does. Where he sees potential profit, she sees communities. Where he sees square footage, she sees families. She opens his eyes to things he never noticed. The way gentrification pushes people out. The way luxury development destroys neighborhood fabric. The human cost of what his father does. 3 months in, Graham realizes he's in love with her. They're walking through Prospect Park. It's late September, the trees just starting to turn. Sloan is talking about a community land trust model she's researching. Her eyes are bright, her hands gesturing as she explains how it could create permanently affordable housing. And Graham just stops walking. She turns back. What? I'm in love with you, he says. The words just come out. Unplanned. True. Sloane stares at him. What? I'm in love with you. I think I have been since that first coffee. Maybe since your panel. When you told a room full of developers they were doing it wrong and didn't even blink. Graham. She takes a step toward him. You can't just say that. Why not? It's true. We've only known each other 3 months. So? He closes the distance between them. I know you well enough to know you're the most remarkable person I've ever met. That you're brilliant and passionate, and you make me want to be better. To do better. That's enough. She's crying now, tears running down her cheeks. Say something, he says softly. I love you too. The words come out in a rush. I've been trying not to. Trying to keep my distance because you're a developer and I work in affordable housing and it's complicated. But I love you anyway. He kisses her then. Right there in Prospect Park with joggers passing by and dogs barking and the world continuing around them. And for 3 more months, everything is perfect. Graham introduces her to Finn. His brother likes her immediately. She's good for you, Finn tells Graham. Makes you think about things beyond profit margins. But Graham doesn't introduce her to his father. Not yet, because he knows what his father will say. Well, think. A girl from Queens who works for a nonprofit. His father will see a gold digger. Will never see what Graham sees. So he keeps her separate from that part of his life, which turns out to be a mistake. Because his father finds out anyway. Has investigators. Always has investigators keeping tabs on his sons. And the poison starts. It's subtle at first. Comments over dinner. So you're seeing someone? That's nice. What does she do? Oh, nonprofit work. That's admirable. Doesn't pay well though, does it? Where's she from? Queens. Interesting. Working class background. Nothing wrong with that, of course. Each comment seemingly innocent. Each one planting seeds. Graham defends her. Sloane is amazing. She's brilliant. She's changing how I think about development. His father smiles. Just be careful, son. People aren't always what they seem. Especially when money is involved. Sloane loves me. Not my money. Of course. His father's voice is soothing. I'm sure you're right. But the seeds are planted. And over the next few months, they grow. Small things. Questions. Concerns disguised as care. Does she ever ask about your projects? Your properties? Has she mentioned money? Just be aware, son. Gold diggers are very good at seeming genuine. Graham gets angry. Defends Sloane. Insists his father is wrong. But doubt creeps in. Tiny. Very deep. But there. And then comes the week that changes everything. Graham is stressed. A major deal is going south. The financing on his second project is falling through. He's working 18-hour days trying to save it. His phone is ringing constantly with lawyers, bankers, investors. Sloane calls. He sent it to voicemail. Too busy. She calls again. Voicemail. And again. And again. 17 times that week. He means to call her back. Means to explain. But he's drowning in work and stress, and his father is in his ear about the deal, and he just doesn't call. If this story is gripping you, if you're feeling the weight of Graham's mistakes, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button, because what happens next, the moment that destroys everything, you need to understand it didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened because poison whispered over time becomes truth if you're not careful. Subscribe to Love Tales by Mr. Grayson and turn on those notifications, because the next part of this story will show you exactly how one wrong assumption can cost you everything that matters. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever jumped to a conclusion you regretted? Have you ever let someone else's doubts become your own? I want to hear your stories. Now, let's get back to the night everything fell apart. On the 17th unanswered call, Sloane does the only thing she can think of. She goes to Finn. Graham's brother has always been kind to her, always made her feel welcome. So she shows up at his apartment on a Friday night, desperate and scared. Finn opens the door, takes one look at her face, and pulls her inside. What's wrong? I need to talk to Graham. He won't answer my calls. I've tried 17 times this week, and he keeps sending me to voicemail. He's dealing with a crisis at work. The Harbor Point financing fell through. He's been a mess. I know, but I need to talk to him. It's important. How important? She takes a breath, pulls out the pregnancy test she's been carrying in her purse for 3 days. Shows it to Finn. 2 pink lines. Oh, Finn says softly, "Oh, Sloane." And she breaks down, right there in his apartment. Starts crying. All the fear and stress and loneliness of the past 3 days pouring out. Finn does what any decent human would do. He hugs her. It's going to be okay, he says. We'll figure this out. I'll talk to Graham. Make him listen. What if he doesn't want this? What if he thinks I'm trying to trap him? He won't think that. Finn's voice is firm. Graham loves you. He's just an idiot sometimes about showing it. She cries into his shoulder. Finn holds her, tells her it'll be okay, makes her tea, helps her calm down. They sit on his couch talking about how to tell Graham. What to say, how to make him understand this isn't a trap or a scheme. It's just what happened, and they can figure out together. Finn has his arms around her shoulders, comforting when they hear the door. Neither of them locked it after Sloane came in. Graham walks in, takes one look at them on the couch. Sloane in Finn's arms. Both of them turning to look at him with matching guilty expressions. And every seed his father planted blooms at once. What the hell is this? His voice is ice. Graham. Finn stands immediately. This isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like you have your arms around my girlfriend. I was comforting her. She came here upset. About you, right? Graham's laugh is bitter. How long has this been going on? Nothing's going on. Sloane stands now too, wiping her eyes. Graham, please, I need to tell you something. I think I can see what you need to tell me. His voice is rising. How long, Sloane? How long have you been sleeping with my brother? I'm not. I would never. Graham, please listen. But he can't hear her. Can't hear anything over the roaring in his ears. Over his father's voice in his head, saying gold diggers, saying can't be trusted, saying I told you so. Get out, he says. Graham, penthouses. Both of you, get out of my life. Graham, please. Sloane is crying now. I am pregnant. That's what I've been trying to tell you. I'm pregnant, and I'm scared, and I needed help, and you wouldn't answer your phone. Pregnant. He looks at her, then at Finn. Convenient timing. It's yours. Her voice breaks. Graham, it's yours. I've never been with anyone else. Never. How do I know that? How do I know this isn't some scheme you two cooked up? Get the rich guy's girlfriend pregnant, trap him, split the money? The words come out cruel, designed to hurt, and they hit their mark. Sloane flinches like he struck her. If that's what you think of me, she says quietly, then we have nothing left to say. She walks out. Finn tries to follow her. Graham blocks him. Was it worth it? Graham asks. Was she worth destroying us? I didn't destroy us. Finn's voice is hard. You did. By refusing to listen. By believing the worst. By letting Dad poison you against someone who loves you. Get out. Gladly. Finn heads for the door. But Graham, when you realize you're wrong about this, when you figure out what you just threw away, don't come crying to me. The door slams. And Graham is alone. He tells himself he did the right thing. Tells himself he saw the truth. Tells himself he's better off. Over the next weeks, Sloane tries. Shows up at his office. His apartment. His construction sites. Every time, he has security remove her. Send her calls to voicemail. Blocks her emails. Letters arrive. He burns them without reading them. His father tells him he did the right thing. Better to find out now than after a wedding. You'll move on. Find someone worthy of you. Finn tries too. Graham won't speak to him either. And after a month, they both stop trying. Sloane disappears. Changes her number. Moves. Vanishes from his life completely. Good, Graham tells himself. Better this way. He throws himself into work. Builds his company. Make his first million. Then his second. Buys properties. Develops them. Becomes exactly what his father wanted him to be. Successful. Cold. Alone. And Sloane, 3 months pregnant with twins, builds a different life entirely. She moves to a cheaper apartment in a rougher neighborhood. The nonprofit can't keep her, not with her connection to the Barrett family now toxic. She freelances. Takes whatever urban planning consulting work she can find. Works through her pregnancy. The ultrasound shows twins. 2 boys. She cries in the doctor's office. How is she supposed to raise one baby alone, let alone 2? But she figures it out. Because she has to. Mason is born first. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. With Graham's blue eyes. Carter comes 3 minutes later. 5 pounds, 8 ounces. Also with blue eyes. They're premature. Spend 2 weeks in the NICU. Sloane sits between their isolettes, holding their tiny hands, promising them she'll be enough. When they come home, she realizes she has no idea what she's doing. But she learns, teaches herself, reads every parenting book, joins every support group for single mothers. It's hard. The hardest thing she's ever done. Mason is colicky. cries for hours. Sloane walks him around the apartment at 3 a.m., exhausted, wondering how she'll make it through. Carter is quieter but gets sick easily. Ear infections, colds that turn into bronchitis, hospital visits she can barely afford. She works from home when she can, takes the boys to interviews in a stroller when she has to, brings them to client meetings and apologizes for the noise. Some clients are understanding, others aren't. Money is constantly tight. She buys secondhand clothes, shops sales, learns to cook cheap, healthy meals, skips meals herself sometimes to make sure the boys have enough. But she never considers taking Richard Barrett's money, never considers reaching out to Graham again, because she saw the look in his eyes that night, the contempt, the disgust, the absolute certainty that she was using him. And she won't subject her sons to that, won't let them grow up with a father who sees them as a scheme instead of a blessing. So she raises them alone, teaches them to be kind, to be honest, to value people over profit. Everything Graham's father isn't. Mason is analytical like his father, takes apart toys to see how they work, asks constant questions about how buildings stand up, how bridges don't fall down. Carter is creative, draws constantly, builds elaborate structures for blocks, has an eye for design that's almost eerie in someone so young. Both are brilliant. Both are exhausting. Both are everything to her. And then, when they're 5.5 years old, Richard Barrett shows up at her door. She almost slams in his face. The man who offered her money to disappear, who helped destroy her relationship with Graham, who poisoned his son against her. But he looks different. Thinner, gray, sick. I'm dying, he says without preamble. Pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe less. And I need to meet them. My grandsons. Before I go. No. Her voice is flat. Please. It's the first time she's ever heard him say that word. I know I don't deserve it. I know what I did. But please, let me try to make it right. You can't make it right. I know. But maybe I can make it less wrong. She should say no. Should protect her boys from this man and his toxicity. But something in his face stops her. Desperation. Regret. The look of a man running out of time. Fine. But you don't tell them who you are unless you earn it. You're just Richard. A friend. If you prove you're worthy, maybe someday they'll know you're their grandfather. He agrees. And for 3 months, Richard Barrett visits every Saturday. Brings building blocks, educational toys, books about architecture and construction. The boys love him. This gentle old man who sits on the floor and builds with them, who answers their endless questions, who treats them like they matter. Sloane watches carefully, ready to cut him off if he shows any sign of being the manipulative man who destroyed her life. But he doesn't. He's different, softer, real. One Saturday, after the boys are in bed, he tells her everything. What he did, how he interfered, the investigators, the lies, the money offer, how he systematically destroyed his son's happiness because he was terrified of losing control. I watched Graham become me, he says. His voice is hollow, cold, successful, alone. And I realized I destroyed him. Destroyed you. Destroyed any chance those boys had at having a father. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm trying to fix it. Before I die, I've written Graham a letter, confessing everything. I'm changing my will, making it conditional, forcing him and Finn to work together, to reconcile. It's not much, but it's all I can do. It won't work. She's bitter. Graham won't listen. He never does. He might, if it comes from me, if he knows I'm the one who destroyed everything. He idolized me, you know, for all the wrong reasons. But he did. Maybe knowing I'm the villain will make him reconsider who the heroes are. 2 weeks later, Richard dies. Sloane takes the boys to the funeral. Not for Graham. For the man who spent his last months trying to become someone worth knowing. And that's how we arrive at this moment. Graham standing outside Hutchins' office, holding his father's letter. Sloane walking away. Saturday looming. The day Graham will meet his sons for the first time. If you've made it this far in the story, if you're invested in whether Graham can earn redemption, whether Sloane can trust again, whether those boys will get the father they deserve, I need to know. Saturday arrives faster and slower than any week of Graham's life. He doesn't sleep Thursday night or Friday night, just lies in his penthouse, staring at the ceiling, thinking about 2 boys with blue eyes who don't know he exists. Friday morning, he cancels every meeting. His CFO is confused. Sir, we have the Harbor Point investors at 2. This is the biggest deal of the quarter. Reschedule it, Graham says. For when? I don't know. Next week. Next month. Whenever. His assistant Brooke actually gasps. You never reschedule investor meetings. I am now. Clear my calendar for the foreseeable future. Everything non-essential goes. What essential? My sons. The word feels foreign in his mouth. Strange. Wonderful. Terrifying. My sons are essential. Everything else can wait. He spends Friday researching. What do 6-year-old boys like? What do they talk about? What makes them laugh? He orders books on parenting. Next day, delivery. Spends the afternoon reading about developmental stages and communication strategies and how to build trust with children. None of it feels adequate. He thinks about buying them gifts. Expensive toys. The kind of things money can buy. Then remembers Sloane's words. Not as Graham Barrett, CEO, as their father. Fathers don't show up with expensive gifts to buy affection. They just show up. So he doesn't buy anything. Friday night, he stands in front of his closet trying to decide what to wear. Everything he owns is expensive. Suits that cost thousands. Casual wear that still screams wealth. He settles on jeans and a plain black shirt. The most normal thing he owns. Then he can't sleep. Just lies there thinking about all the ways this could go wrong. What if they hate him? What if they ask why he wasn't there? What if they see right through him and know he has no idea what he's doing? What if he fails them before he even begins? Saturday morning. He's up at 5. Showers. Stares at himself in the mirror. Practices what to say. Imgavum. Your father. No. Too formal. Hey guys, I'm your dad. No. Too casual. Too presumptuous. He hasn't earned dad yet. Imgavum. I'm really happy to meet you. Better. Simpler. True. He leaves his penthouse at 8. The park is in Brooklyn. He could take a car service. Instead, he takes the subway. Wants to arrive like a normal person, not like a CEO with a driver. The train is crowded. Saturday morning commuters heading to work. Families going into the city. Teenagers with coffee cups. Graham stands holding a pole, surrounded by normal people living normal lives, and realizes he's been insulated from this for years. He gets off at the right stop. Walks 6 blocks to the park. Arrives at 9:45. 15 minutes early. The park is beautiful. Old trees. A playground with swings and slides. Benches where parents sit watching their children. Grass still wet with morning dew. Graham sits on a bench. Watches families. A father pushing his daughter on a swing. A mother helping her son across the monkey bars. Simple moments that he's missed 6 years of. His phone buzzes. Work emails. He ignores them. At 9:58, he sees them. Sloane walking down the path. And on either side of her, holding her hands, 2 boys. Mason and Carter. His sons. They're wearing jeans and sneakers. Matching blue jackets. Both have dark hair like Sloane. Both have his eyes. Even from a distance, he can see those eyes. Graham stands. His legs feel weak. They stop a few feet away. Mason, Carter, Sloane says gently. This is Graham. He's someone I used to know. Someone who wants to meet you. The boys stare at him. Identical expressions of curiosity mixed with caution. Assessing him the way children do, with complete honesty. Grafamanejas. His voice sounds strange. Too high. Too nervous. It's really nice to meet you. You have our eyes, one of the boys says. Mason, maybe. Or Carter. Graham doesn't know which is which yet. Or you have mine, Graham says. Tries to smile. I had them first. That's not how heredity works, the other boy says. Serious. Matter of fact. You gave us the genetic code for blue eyes through your DNA. But we developed our own eyes independently in utero. They're ours, not yours. Graham looks at Sloane helplessly. She shrugs, a tiny smile playing at her lips. I told you. They're scary smart. How old are you? The first boy asks. 32. That's old, he says without hesitation. Carter, Sloane warns. So that's Carter. The blunt one. Are you rich? Mason asks. More careful than his brother. More measured, but still direct. I have money, yes. Mom's a park with a playground. So kids who live there have a place to play. Can we help design the playground? Carter's eyes are bright with excitement. Graham looks at Sloane. She nods slightly. I would love that, he says. If your mom says it's okay, maybe you could draw some ideas. Show me what would make a great playground. Yes. Both boys shout. The hour passes like minutes. The The boys ask endless questions, point out things in his designs, make suggestions that are actually brilliant. What if the buildings had rooftop gardens? What if there were bike paths? What if the playground had a water feature for summer? Graham makes notes on every suggestion, realizes these 6-year-olds are thinking about community and joy and connection in ways his expensive architects haven't. We have to go, Sloane finally says. Both boys groan in perfect unison. Can he come back? Carter asks. Do you want him to come back? Sloane asks carefully. Both boys look at Graham, really look at him, weighing, measuring. Yes, Mason says after a moment. But you have to prove you're not just trying, Carter adds. You have to actually do. I will, Graham promises. I'll do. He watches them leave. Sloane and the boys walking back down the path. Carter turning around once to wave. Graham waves back, and something in his chest that's been frozen for 7 years cracks open. Over the next weeks, Graham becomes a regular at the park. Every Saturday at 10. Then Sloane adds Wednesdays. Then Sundays after their soccer games. He learns their rhythms, their differences. Mason is analytical, brilliant at math, takes apart everything to understand how it works, but struggles with reading, gets frustrated when words don't make sense the way numbers do. Carter is creative, draws constantly, covers pages with building designs and inventions, devours books, but gets confused by math, can't see why numbers matter when there are stories to tell. They're opposite halves of the same whole. At the soccer games, Graham sits in the stands with other parents. They whisper, point. Is that Graham Barrett, the millionaire? What's he doing here? He doesn't care. Just cheers when Mason scores a goal. Consoles Carter when he misses one. Brings orange slices at halftime like the other parents do. Slowly, carefully, he's building something. Not with money or power or the things he knows, but with presence, with showing up, with being there. One Wednesday, they're at the park. The boys are on the swings. Graham is pushing them, one hand on each swing, trying to keep the rhythm steady. Higher, Carter demands. Not too high, Mason warns. I don't like going too high. Different kids, different needs. Graham adjusts, pushes Carter higher, keeps Mason at a comfortable height. You're good at this, Sloane says. She's sitting on a nearby bench, watching. At what? This. Being present. Paying attention to what they need individually. I'm trying to make up for lost time. You can't make up for it, she says quietly. But you can show up for the time that's left. That matters more. Later, the boys are playing on the monkey bars. Graham and Sloane sit on the bench together. Not touching, but close. They ask about you, she says. When you're not here. When you're coming back. What you're building. Whether you like them. Of course I like them. Graham's voice is fierce. They're extraordinary. I know. But they don't know that you know. They need to hear it. I'll tell them. Do. Because Carter asked me last night if you're staying, and I didn't know what to say. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell them the truth. Whatever that is. But Graham, if you're not in this for the long haul, if this is some phase or some way to ease your guilt, tell me now. Before they get more attached. I'm in this, he says. For as long as you'll let me be. She doesn't respond. Just watches the boys. Mason helping Carter across the monkey bars, even though Carter is actually better at them. Brothers helping each other. 6 weeks into their routine, Sloane invites Graham to dinner. Her apartment is in a building that's seen better days. The elevator is broken. They climb 4 flights of stairs. The hallway smells like cooking from a dozen different apartments. Inside, her apartment is small. 2 small bedrooms. A living room with a couch that's clearly seen years of use. A kitchen so tiny she can barely turn around in it. But it's filled with life. Drawings covering the fridge. Shoes by the door. Books stacked on every surface. The chaos of an actual home. Graham's penthouse has never felt like this. Sterile and empty compared to this riot of living. I brought groceries, he says, holding up bags. Thought I could cook. If that's okay. You cook. Sloane's surprise is genuine. I learned. After. When I was living alone and realized takeout was slowly killing me. What are you making? Pasta. Nothing fancy. I'm not trying to impress you with some elaborate meal. Just something the boys will actually eat. They love pasta. He makes marinara from scratch. The boys help, standing on stools at the counter. Carter stirs the sauce. Mason measures the pasta. Both take their jobs very seriously. They eat at a table that barely fits 4 people. Knees bumping, elbows jostling. Nothing like the formal dinners Graham grew up with. And it's perfect. After dinner, the boys drag Graham to their room, show him their collections. Mason has rocks, organized by type, by color, by where he found them. Labels written in careful 6-year-old handwriting. Carter has drawings, hundreds of them. Buildings and bridges and fantastical structures that defy physics but capture imagination. This is incredible, Graham says. And means it. We're going to be architects like you, Carter announces. And like Grandpa Richard was, Mason adds quietly. Graham's chest tightens. You remember him? He visited a lot before he died, Mason says. Told us stories about buildings he made. About you and Uncle Finn when you were little. Ein Finn, Graham repeats. He comes by sometimes, Carter says casually. He's funny, but you're better at building stuff. Graham looks at Sloane. She's standing in the doorway, watching. Finn visits. Once a month or so. He reached out after your father introduced us. Wanted to meet them. Apologize for everything that happened. For not trying harder to make you listen. I didn't know. There's a lot you don't know yet, she says. But you're learning. After the boys go to bed, after 3 stories and 2 glasses of water and extensive negotiations about whether they really have to brush their teeth, Graham and Sloane sit on her tiny balcony. It barely fits 2 chairs. Overlooks an alley in another building. Nothing like Graham's penthouse view of the Manhattan skyline. But the air is clearer here somehow. More real. They like you, Sloane says. I like them. They're amazing. They are. She's quiet for a moment. They ask about you constantly. When you're coming back. Whether you're their dad. Graham's heart stops. What do you tell them? The truth. That you're their biological father. That you didn't know about them. That we're figuring out what comes next. What has come next? She turns to look at him. What do you want to come next? Everything. The word comes out fierce. Certain. I want everything. I want to be their father. Really be it. Not just visits. Not just the fun uncle who shows up sometimes. I want school pickups and doctor's appointments and midnight fevers. I want the boring parts and the hard parts and all of it. That's a big commitment. I know. You have a company to run. Buildings to design. A life that doesn't include us. Then I'll change my life. I'll make it include you. Graham, I love you. The words come out before he can stop them. Before he can plan them. I never stopped. I spent 7 years convincing myself I hated you. That you betrayed me. But it was always love. Twisted and bitter and buried. But love. Sloane's eyes are bright. You can't just say that. You can't just show up after 7 years and expect everything to be okay. I don't expect anything. I'm just telling you the truth. I love you. I love our sons. And I will spend the rest of my life proving it if you let me. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. I was wrong. You were right. I choose to do better. To be better. And I'm asking you to give me a chance to prove it. She's crying now. Silently. Tears tracking down her cheeks in the dim light from the apartment. You broke me, she whispers. When you didn't believe me. When you shut me out. When you looked at me like I was nothing. You broke something in me that I'm still trying to fix. Then let me help fix it. Please. I have to protect them. Protect myself. I can't go through that again. Losing you again. You won't. I swear. I'm here. I am staying. No matter what. People say that. Her voice is small. And then they leave. I'm not people. I'm the idiot who wasted 7 years. Who missed everything. First steps. First words. First days of school. I'm not missing anything else. She looks at him. Really looks. Searching for something. Some sign that he means it. That this isn't temporary. Okay, she finally says. Okay. Okay. We try. Slowly. Carefully. You keep showing up. You keep being consistent. And we see if we can build something from these broken pieces. He wants to kiss her. Wants to pull her close and never let go. But he doesn't. Because she's right. This needs to be slow. Needs to be earned. Thank you, he says instead. Don't thank me yet. Wait until you've survived a weekend with twin 6-year-olds. Then decide if you're still grateful. He laughs. Actually laughs. For the first time in what feels like years. Beautiful family, I need you to pause right here for a moment. Because what you're watching isn't just a romance. It's a complete transformation. Graham is learning that being a father isn't about money or power. It's about showing up, being present, choosing people over profit every single day. If this story is hitting you right here in your heart, if you're rooting for this broken family to heal, I need you to hit that like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the most important thing a parent can give their children? And subscribe to Love Tales by Mr. Grayson, because what happens next is going to show you what real redemption looks like when you're willing to do the work. Now let's continue. 3 months into this new routine, Graham makes a decision. He's going to move to Brooklyn, not to some luxury building, not to a penthouse, to a regular apartment 10 minutes from Sloan and the boys. His real estate agent is horrified. Sir, these buildings don't have doormen. No concierge service. The elevators are old. I don't need a doorman. I need to be near my sons. He finds a 3-bedroom, second-floor walk-up. The landlord recognizes him, quotes a ridiculous rent. Graham pays it without arguing. Doesn't matter. All that matters is being close. He sells his Manhattan penthouse, the place where he's lived alone for 7 years, where he built his isolation. His assistant nearly faints when he tells her, "You're selling the penthouse?" "Yes." "Where will you live?" "Brooklyn, near my family." The word feels good. Family. Moving day. Finn shows up with a truck. The brothers haven't talked much since the funeral. A few texts about the Riverside development. Nothing deep, but Finn is here anyway. They load boxes in silence. Then Finn speaks. "I'm proud of you." Graham stops, looks at his brother. "For what?" "For this. For changing your life. For fighting for them. It takes courage to admit you were wrong. To completely reorient your world. I should have done it 7 years ago. You weren't ready 7 years ago." Finn hands him another box. "Dad had too much control. You had to break free of that first. He destroyed so much." "Yeah, but he tried to fix it at the end. That has to count for something." "Does it?" "I think so. Finn Buzzies. He introduced you to your sons. Brought Sloan back into your life. Forced us to work together. He was a terrible father in life. But maybe in death, he's teaching us how to be better." The Riverside development becomes their project. Graham and Finn working together for the first time in years. Really working together. Not just occupying the same space. Actually collaborating. Finn has ideas Graham never considered. Community gardens. Shared workshop spaces. A community center with free programming. "This is your influence," Finn says, pointing to the affordable housing section. Sloan's influence. "You never would have considered this before." "No, I wouldn't have." They're in Graham's new Brooklyn apartment. Plans spread across his dining table. The boys are there too, drawing playground designs. What if the playground had a space theme? Carter suggests, like kids could pretend they're on the moon. In a dinosaur area, Mason adds, with fossils to dig up. Graham makes notes on everything. These ideas will actually make it into the final design. Because kids know what kids want. Sloan arrives with pizza, sees Graham and Finn working together. The boys contributing, all of them building something. She catches Graham's eye, smiles, and he knows this is what his father wanted. Not just the development, but this. Family, connection, building something that matters. For months in, Graham is picking the boys up from school twice a week. He arrives early, parks, waits with the other parents. Some of them still whisper. Some have accepted him. The soccer dad who happens to be a millionaire. The boys run out. See him. Their faces light up. Graham. Carter barrels into him. "Did you bring snacks?" Mason asks. "More practical. I brought apples. Can we have cookies instead?" After the apples, they hold his hands, one on each side, walk to his car chattering about their day. Mason got 100 on his math test. Carter's drawing is going to be displayed in the school art show. Graham listens to every word, makes mental notes. These are the moments he missed for 6 years. He's not missing any more. At his apartment, they do homework. Graham helps Mason with reading. Sounds out words patiently. Doesn't rush him. Finn stops by. Brings Chinese takeout. The boys love Uncle Finn. He's funny. Makes them laugh. Plays with them without any of Graham's careful seriousness. "You need to relax," Finn tells Graham while the boys are engrossed in a cartoon. "You're allowed to just have fun with them." "I'm trying. Trying." Mason's word comes back to haunt him. So that weekend, Graham takes them to Coney Island. Not for any educational purpose. Not to teach them anything. Just for fun. They ride the cyclone. Carter screams with joy. Mason keeps his eyes closed, but laughs anyway. They eat hot dogs and cotton candy. Get sick from spinning teacups. Play games at the arcade. Graham spends $200 trying to win Mason a stuffed dinosaur. Finally succeeds. Mason hugs it like treasure. This is the best day ever, Carter announces. And Graham realizes this is parenting. Not the big moments, the small ones. The ordinary joy of a day at the beach with your kids. 6 months in, they break ground on Riverside. Media is there. Cameras. Graham gives a speech about building for community, not just profit, about his father's vision for a legacy that helps people. But the best part is after. When Mason and Carter, wearing tiny hard hats Graham had made specially for them, flipped the first ceremonial shovelfuls of dirt. They're grinning. Proud. This is their project too. Carter leans over to Mason, whispers something. Mason leans to Carter, whispers back. They run to Sloane, both whispering urgently. She looks at Graham. Something soft in her expression. Something that makes his heart race. They want to ask you something, she says. Graham kneels down. I level with his sons. Can we call you Dad? Carter asks. Instead of Graham? Mason adds. Every wall Graham built. Every defense. Every piece of armor he constructed over 7 years. It all crumbles. I would love that, he manages. His voice breaks. Even though you missed a lot of stuff? Carter's watching him carefully. Like first steps and birthdays? Even though I can't change the past. But I promise I'll be there for everything from now on. Everything. Mason presses. Like school plays and soccer games, and when we're sick? Everything. I promise. Okay, Carter says matter-of-factly. Then your dad. Decision made. Simple as that. Mason hugs him first. Then Carter. They're slight and strong and perfect in his arms. When Graham looks up, Sloane is crying. Happy tears this time. Finn is there too, grinning, wiping his own eyes. You did it, Finn says quietly. You really did it. That night, the boys have their first sleepover at Graham's apartment. He's prepared obsessively. New beds, new sheets with dinosaurs for Mason and rockets for Carter. Night lights, the exact snack Sloane said they like. Sloane stays to help with bedtime. The routine is complex. Both boys need showers but hate washing their hair. Both need their teeth brushed but negotiate about how long. Both need stories but different stories. Mason wants nonfiction about space. Carter wants fantasy about dragons. Graham reads until his voice is hoarse. When they're finally asleep, he and Sloane collapse on his couch. How do you do that every night? He asks. You just do. Because they're yours and you love them. I do love them. More than I thought it was possible to love anyone. I know. I can see it. They sit in comfortable silence. Then Graham speaks. I'm in love with you. Not shouted this time. Quiet. Certain. I need you to know that. No pressure. No expectations. Just truth. She turns to face him. I am terrified. Of what? Of believing you. Of letting you all the way in. Of what happens if this doesn't work. It will work. You don't know that. I do. Because I'm not the man I was 7 years ago. Because I've learned what matters. Because I wake up every day choosing you. Choosing them. Choosing this. Graham. He takes her hand. I'm not asking you to be ready now. I'm asking you to believe that I will wait. However long it takes. Until you trust that I'm here. That I'm staying. She laces her fingers through his. Ask me next year. After you survive a year of being their dad. Of showing up. Of all the hard parts. 1 year. 1 year. He can wait a year. He can wait forever if that's what she needs. But it doesn't take a year. 6 months later, on a random Tuesday, Sloane shows up at Graham's office. He's moved the office to Brooklyn. Closer to home. Closer to what matters. His assistant tries to stop her. Graham waves her through. Everything okay? The boys? The boys are fine. They're at school. She's nervous. Twisting her hands. I needed to talk to you. Fear cuts through him. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. That's the problem. I don't understand. You've been perfect. For 9 months. Since the funeral. You've shown up. Been consistent. Put them first. Put us first. And I keep waiting for the catch. For you to revert. To become a man who shut me out. I won't. I know. Her voice is fierce now. That's what I came to tell you. I know. I finally believe you. And I'm tired of being scared. Tired of protecting myself from something that's not going to happen. Hope rises in his chest. Fragile. Enormous. What are you saying? I'm saying I love you. I'm saying I want this. Us. All of it. I'm saying yes to the question you haven't asked yet, but I know you want to. He stands. Crosses to her. Frames her face with his hands. Sloane Murphy. Will you marry me? You don't have a ring. I've had a ring for 3 months. waiting for the right moment. But I left it at home because I didn't want to pressure you. She laughs through tears. You bought a ring 3 months ago? The day they call me Dad. I knew. I've always known. Just had to wait for you to know too. Yes. She's crying now. Smiling and crying. Yes to the ring. Yes to everything. He kisses her. Finally. After months of waiting. Of taking it slow. Of earning it. It's everything he remembered and nothing like it. Better. Deeper. Built on truth and time and the hardest kind of love. When they pull apart, both are smiling. The boys are going to lose their minds, she says. Good minds to lose. They tell him that night. Over dinner. In the apartment that's slowly become theirs. Sloane officially moved in with Graham last month. The boys have their own room now. Sloane has space for her work. It's cramped and chaotic and perfect. We have something to tell you, Sloane says. Both boys look up from their spaghetti. Matching curious expressions. Dad and I are getting married. Carter drops his fork. Really? Really? Mason grins. So you'll be married? Like officially our dad? I'm already officially your dad. Graham's voice is thick with emotion. But yes, I'll be married to your mom. We'll be a real family. We're already a real family, Carter says matter-of-factly. Marriage is just a legal contract. Sloane sighs. Carter. What? It is. Ms. Peterson said so in social studies. He's not wrong, Graham says. But it's also a promise. To choose each other every day. To build a life together. Like building a building, Mason says thoughtfully. You have to have a strong foundation. Exactly like that. Do we get to come to the wedding? Carter asks. You're the best men. Both of you. Can't have a wedding without you. Both boys cheer. Then tackle Graham in a hug that nearly knocks him over. Sloane watches. Smiling. Happy. Whole. Later, after the boys are in bed, she and Graham stand in what used to be just his kitchen, but is now theirs. I was thinking, she says, about the development. Riverside. What about it? You're doing affordable housing. Community spaces. What about creative spaces too? Studios for artists. Workshops for makers. Places where people can build things. Like what the boys do. Exactly. Make it a place that nurtures creativity. Not just houses people, but helps them become who they're meant to be. He pulls her close. You're brilliant. I know. He laughs. Kisses her forehead. I'll talk to Finn. Add it to the design. We could teach workshops, she continues. Me and you. Help kids learn to build. To create. Make it a real community hub. A legacy. Better than money. Better than buildings. A legacy of actually maturing. And that's what they do. The Riverside development opens 2 years later. Affordable housing. 35% more than required. Green spaces. Community gardens. A community center with programming for families. And a massive creative hub. Studios. Workshops. Maker spaces. Places where people can learn to build, to design, to create. Graham and Sloane teach monthly workshops. The boys help. At 8 years old, they're already better teachers than most adults. Patient with younger kids. Enthusiastic about every project. Finn runs the community outreach. Make sure the people who need these spaces most can access them. Scholarships for families who can't afford the classes. Partnerships with schools. He's good at it. Better than he ever was at pure development. This is his calling. The ribbon cutting is packed. Media, city officials, but also families. Real people who will actually live here. Who will use these spaces. Graham gives a speech. Thanks his father for the vision. Thanks Finn for the partnership. Thanks Sloane for teaching him what really matters. And he thanks Mason and Carter for giving him a reason to be better. The boys beam from the front row. The wedding happens on a Saturday in May. Small ceremony. Just family and close friends. In a community center at Riverside. The place they built together. Mason and Carter wear matching suits. Stand beside Graham as he promises to love their mother forever. The officiant says, "You may kiss the bride." Finally, Carter yells. Everyone laughs. At the reception, Graham dances with Sloane. Then with each boy individually. Carter stands on his feet, lets Graham move them both around the floor. Mason actually tries to learn the steps. Concentrates seriously on getting them right. Happy? Sloane asks when they're alone again. More than I thought possible. Me too. I'm sorry it took so long. To get here. That I wasted so much time. You're here now. That's what matters. And she's right. He is here. Present. Committed. Building a life that matters with the people who matter most. 7 years lost, but a lifetime found. 5 years after the wedding. Mason and Carter are 11 now. The creative hub at Riverside is thriving. Hundreds of kids coming through every month. Learning to build, to create, to see possibilities. Graham still runs Barrett Development, but differently now. Every project includes affordable housing, community spaces, things that help people not just make profit. Finn is his partner, real partner. They've developed 4 more projects together, each one better than the last. And at home, Graham has everything he never knew he needed. 2 sons who challenge him daily, who keep him honest, who see through any corporate nonsense immediately. A wife who still pushes him to be better, who consults on every project, who makes sure they're building for communities, not just portfolios. A life that matters. One night, Mason asks a question. Dad, do you ever think about the time you missed before you knew about us? Every day, Graham says honestly. Does it make you sad? Sometimes. But mostly it makes me grateful for the time I have now and determined not to waste any more of it. Carter looks up from his drawing. We're glad you came back. Me too, buddy. Me too. Later, after the boys are asleep, Graham and Sloan sit on their balcony. They have a house now. Small. In Brooklyn. With an actual yard where the boys play. You did good, she says. We did good. This isn't just me. You changed your entire life. That's not small. I didn't have a choice. Not really. Once I knew about them, once I saw what I'd missed, there was only one option. Show up or lose them forever. You could have chosen to lose them. Plenty of men would have. I'm not plenty of men. I'm their father. That's the most important thing I'll ever be. She takes his hand. I'm proud of you. For what you've become. For fighting for us. I should have fought 7 years ago. You weren't ready 7 years ago. And maybe I wasn't either. Maybe we both needed to become who we are now to make this work. You think everything happens for a reason? No. I think terrible things happen for no reason at all. But I think we can choose what we do with the aftermath. We can let it destroy us, or we can let it transform us. We chose transformation. We did. They sit in comfortable silence. The kind that only comes from years of choosing each other, of doing the work, of building something real. Beautiful family, before we close this story, I need you to understand what you just witnessed. This isn't a fairy tale. This is reality. Graham didn't just apologize and everything was okay. He had to completely transform his life, change his priorities, show up every single day for months before Sloan trusted him, before the boys called him dad. That's what real redemption looks like. Not a grand gesture, not a dramatic moment, but consistent, daily choice to be better, to do better, to put the people you love ahead of everything else. If this story touched you, if it changed how you think about second chances, about what it means to be a parent, about choosing love over pride, here's what I need you to do. Hit that like button one more time. Subscribe to Love Tales by Mr. Grayson for more stories that will challenge you and inspire you and make you believe that broken things can be mended. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late. That transformation is possible. That love, real love, can survive even the worst betrayals if both people are willing to do the work. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the biggest lesson you're taking from Graham and Sloan's story? What relationship in your life needs you to show up more consistently? I want to hear from you, because stories like this matter. They show us who we could be if we had the courage to change. Now let me leave you with this. Home isn't a place. It's not a penthouse in Manhattan or a small apartment in Brooklyn. It's the people who see you at your worst and give you a chance to be your best. It's the family you build through presence, not perfection. It's the daily choice to show up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Graham lost 7 years. 7 years of birthdays and first steps and bedtime stories. He can never get those back, but he didn't let that loss define him. He didn't wallow in regret. He chose to show up for every moment from that point forward. And that's what made him a father. Not biology, not money, not grand gestures, just showing up. Every single day. That's the story. Not the romance, not the happy ending, but the daily choice to be better, to do better, to build something that lasts. Remember this. Success means nothing if you're alone. Pride will cost you everything that matters. Poison whispered over time is still poison. So pay attention to who's whispering in your ear. It's never too late to change direction. Actions speak louder than apologies. Real love survives pain if both people choose to heal. And children don't need perfect parents. They need present ones. Until next time, beautiful family. This is Mr. Grayson, reminding you that love always finds a way. Even through pain. Even through years of separation. Even when you think it's too late. Love finds a way. If we let it. If we're brave enough to do the work. I'll see you in the next story.